The Phoenix VA healthcare system has a long, proud history of providing medical services to our servicemen and women after they leave the military. As part of our outreach to these veterans and the community, we provide you with our monthly television news magazine, To Your Health. On today's show, we'll take you on a journey inside the human body and see why MRI is king of imaging. Then we'll venture over to the kitchen where Chef Greg will help bake us up some healthy chocolate treats. Later, we'll discover how reliving the past can help our veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder build a brighter today. I'm Paula Pedene, and this is To Your Health. MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging. Using a powerful magnetic field and radio frequency pulses, an MRI produces detailed pictures of organs, soft tissues, and bone. Most importantly, an MRI does not involve exposure to radiation. Dr. Stepanovich, why would someone need an MRI?
MRI is wonderful for imaging really the entire body. For example, it's used in neurologic imaging because we get beautiful images of the brain, of the spinal cord and the nerves. It's used also for imaging the joints because we see tendons, ligaments. We see soft tissues very clearly on MRI. It's used also for body imaging. So for example, to look at the liver, at the kidneys, to look at the bile ducts and gallbladder, and also to look at vasculature, to look at the arteries and the veins in the body.
Now, when you're looking at these different parts of the body, what is it that you see? What is in the images that you're looking for?
For example, if we do a brain MRI, it can be very useful to see tumors, to see lesions of multiple sclerosis, to see what it's commonly used for is to see acute stroke. For example, a CT of the head may be normal, and at that same time, the MRI will show an acute stroke, an acute infarct in the brain. It's also used, for example, in the spine. We can see disc herniations or disc protrusions very clearly. It can be used in patients to evaluate, as I mentioned, the bile ducts. We can see clearly the bile ducts, the gallbladder, and get what we call an MRCP, and see all of this without injecting any dye, without doing anything what we call invasive to the patient, just by getting the image. There's no catheters involved, and the same for MRA. We can do that without any kind of needles or injections, see flow within the arteries. All of this is very exciting and very helpful to us. It answers many questions for us medically that otherwise we wouldn't be able to answer.
And that is so critical. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
MRIs have proven to be a valuable tool for doctors when diagnosing a broad range of conditions, including cancer, heart, and vascular disease. And MRIs are a fast, non-invasive alternative to X-rays. Now we're on our way to the kitchen for a light, sweet, chocolatey, all-in-one, surprisingly healthy recipe, guaranteed to satisfy the sweet tooth in all of us. In the kitchen today, we're going to make chocolate meringue cookies that are low fat, low sugar, high protein, and low carbohydrate. So Greg, show us what you're gonna do.
Okay, what we're gonna do, Paula, is we're gonna start with egg whites. And we need 4 egg whites, and right here, all you're gonna do is separate the yolk. Right, separate an egg. So we're just gonna break open our egg and open it up over our pan, and the yolk will stay in the egg, and we'll just get the egg white. And once we get that, we just discard the yolk, and we don't need any of that. Now, next, I have a cup here of Splenda. The reason we're using Splenda is this is a lot less calories than if we were to use sugar. So we're just gonna put this in here. Now, an important tip to meringue is a half hour before making it, if you take your eggs out and set it, allow them to get a room temperature, this will make for better result in the fluffiness of the meringue. All right. So now what I'm doing is just kind of incorporating the sugar and the egg yolks together. And we're going to keep on increasing the speed.
Make it higher.
Right.
Yep.
And now we're just going to beat until this starts to turn to a nice stiff foam. We finished our meringue, which we beat for about 5 minutes. And now what I'm going to do is grab my chocolate.
And that's dark chocolate that you've melted.
Right, dark chocolate.
And we've let it cool.
Right, we let it cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take my meringue and put it in here rather than go from chocolate to the meringue, just for the convenience.
Boy, that meringue really turned out nice.
Yes.
It really did. And you know, the nice thing about Splenda is that when you're baking, it's the same as sugar. So if a recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar, you can use 1 cup of Splenda and still get the same great benefits and not have to alter the recipe. So that's really nice.
Right.
It makes it easy to use.
Show that towards me, please.
So what we're doing now is we're gently folding the chocolate into the meringue, and you want to be gentle so that we don't lose the air that we fluffed into these egg whites, so that we'll end up with a nice stiff batter to make our cookies.
And this recipe has half the fat of a chocolate chip cookie that you normally eat. It has less carbohydrates because there is no flour, and I think 1/3 less calories because of the Splenda. So it really is a very healthy recipe that you've selected for us today.
All right, and now what we're going to do, Paula, is we're going to take our batter, our cookie dough mix here, even though there's no dough, and we're going to make little dollops and just place them right here on the pan and kind of spread these out.
And then how long do we bake these?
We're going to bake these at a 275-degree oven for 30 to maybe 45 minutes, depending upon the efficiency of your oven.
Wow, so that's a little longer for cookies than normal.
The reason for being is we're cooking at a low heat, 275 versus a
Like
higher heat.
350.
And this is an egg product, and we want to cook it a little slower so we don't end up burning. And because of the chocolate can burn, and we don't want that to happen. All right, so there we have
Our lovely cookies.
our lovely little cookies.
Chocolate meringue.
And we'll just take and place these in the oven.
Okay.
And in the oven, I already have some that are made, so we'll just take those out.
Oh, wow. Those turned out nice.
And this is what we end up with.
Great.
Chocolate-looking meringue
Those
cookies.
look great.
Yes.
And there we have our chocolate meringue cookies that nutritionally stack up and help satisfy that sweet tooth in a very healthy way. Check out phoenix.va.gov for Greg's chocolate meringue cookie recipe. You can find it under our To Your Health link under the newsroom. Our Phoenix VA relies on community support to help our veterans in many ways. Right after this, we'll visit with 2 volunteers who give special meaning to babies, baskets, and motherhood.